What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk about ChatGPT's custom instructions. So, they came up with this feature a few weeks ago, and I've been using it. I find it very useful, and I thought I'll share some techniques on how you can improve the quality of responses that you get from ChatGPT using custom instructions. So, first, what are custom instructions? Very simply put, these are just instructions that go to the model every time you ask a question. So, it just is something that gets preloaded and sent to it. And there are two types of custom instructions. One is things about you. So, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide a better response? And these can be things like, my name and location. So, sometimes I ask about holiday ideas, profession, what do I do? That is helpful. Diet is especially helpful, especially if you have allergies, you can list them down. Now, I ask for a lot of recipes, and when I'm going to restaurants, sometimes I just ask it what are the popular things and so forth. So that's useful. Hobbies, travel, these type of things. And the second thing is, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? Now, this I find really interesting, and of the two, I would say this is my more favorite one. Now, one is I would like to respond. I have given it a name, so I just find it easier to say, "Hey, chat," and start every chat like that. So that's why I've given it a name. And then I also like it to use a casual tone with me and refer to me by my name as frequently as possible. So stylistically, I have tried with a few different things, and this is something that I did, and I thought that this type of tone and language, it really resonates with me. And so you can choose whatever you want. I mean, I know that some people have asked it to assume the tone of a butler, which is very funny. Intern, another funny one. So whatever works for you. Another thing that is useful is disclaimers. So you can see that a lot of times it gives you disclaimers and all of that, and these are things that you know already. So I've asked it not to give any disclaimers at all. Response length. Now, before this, I was finding that many times I would have to stop the responses midway because it is just going too long. And so initially I asked it to keep the responses short, and then I found that it is actually very short, and I needed more. So I said that medium length. Now, this is very subjective, but somehow I found that it works for whatever I need to do. And something else is saying don't know. So many times I feel like it gives responses where it should just say I don't know. And I don't think this works very well, but because I actually don't remember when it last time said I don't know, but it's something useful to have. Aesthetics. So this is an interesting thing where a lot of times I'm asking it for ideas on how to create PowerPoints or Excel or some design related things. So I would like it always to give me aesthetic related aspects in the response as well. So if I am asking for a suggestion to make a table in PowerPoint, how do I make it look professional? These type of things. And this I find is very helpful because you can see here, I have given it the hex code or color code, my company's color palette, and then I've told it that I am interested in aesthetics. So these two combinations, what it does is, it oftentimes will tell me that if you use this background color and this font color and all, it will look good. And so that is all from here, which I find is very, very interesting, very useful. Expertise is interesting. Many times I'm asking it to do something for me, and that thing itself may not be the right thing to do. So I'll show you an example later on. And I feel like it just, as soon as you ask something, it just starts giving you responses on, oh, how can you do it? But at some point, I would also like it to question, hey, why do you want to do it? Like a friend would do or an expert would do that. Is this even the right thing to do? Maybe too much to expect, but I don't know. I've asked it. I think it works in some manner, and I'll show you an example where I think it worked. But this is another thing, that expertise, assume that you are an expert and I'm a dummy, and then give me answers. Diagrams. Now, with this new model, you can also create diagrams. It creates DALL-E images, and I have asked it to ask me wherever diagrams are applicable, create them for me. And why I have done this is I've seen that I actually do not know when it will be able to create diagrams. So it's useful for it to just always ask, and I'm like, can you create a diagram for this? Okay, let's see what you do. And I will show you an example of where it's really impactful. Opinions. Now, this again, I just feel like I enjoy when it gives me opinions, and some people have opinions on it not having opinions, so totally up to you. But what you see here is what should it know about you to give you a better response, and then what should the tone and the content of the response look like. These are what custom instructions are. Okay, so now let me give you some examples of prompts with and without custom instructions, and let's see how that works. So first off, there is this friend of mine, he wanted to go to this restaurant, and I asked ChatGPT that I've never been there, what are some good things that you can order. So right off the bat, you can see it is telling me it's a vegan restaurant. So I've told it that, I like to eat meats and fish and all that. So it is telling me it's vegan, which is very good. And then it's sort of giving me a generic answer that appetizers are good, soups are good, main courses, desserts, beverages, all nice things. And the 30 seconds you can take to read this will not harm you. But then I felt like it's not really useful, apart from knowing that, okay, this is a vegan restaurant. So now let's see how this compares to when you have custom instructions turned on. So now, right off the bat, you see that, it's addressing me by my name, and the tone also you will see is very casual, different. And it's saying that, hey, they serve entirely plant-based dishes. Given your preference for fish, meats, etc., it might be a bit different from your usual meals. So this is really out there, right? I mean, it's telling you that, hey, you have said that you like meats, but this is a vegan place, so watch out. So I really enjoyed this difference. And then second, I felt that these things are interesting because I've told it I like toasted sandwiches. It is telling me there are sandwiches, Asian-inspired dishes. There are soups because, given that you love soups, you might want to try some of the vegan soups. So it's useful. Dessert menu and all of that. So, I mean, I prefer this response to the previous response just for the tonality. So maybe quality-wise, I just came to know that there are some soups and there are some sandwiches and all that. Maybe not materially different, but at least as a tone and just as a response, I prefer this one. So that's one example. Now let's take another example. Now I dabble in a little bit of bonsai, and I have a bench with several plants. And one of the things that I'm trying to do is to create a automated watering system for these plants. And so I ask it, I want to run 1/4-inch tubing from my main hose to my bonsai bench. So you may think that this is a little bit specific. It is specific because I know some things about this already, and I have bought some things. So I have, for example, 1/4-inch tubing I've already bought. And I want to know how to take this from the main water hose to the bonsai bench. And then it tells me, this is what you can do, step-by-step guide, plan your layout, assembly, emitter installation, finalization, all good, very good, excellent. When I read through this, it was quite nice. I liked it, and I thought that, okay, these are many things that I did not know that it helped me learning. Now I turned on the custom instructions, and there's a very interesting thing that happened. So it said that, hey, Manshu, again, you see the tonal difference. That's a pretty solid idea, especially if you have a lot of bonsai to take care of. However, there are a couple of things to consider. Now, all of this was not present in the previous response, right? So I assume it has something to do with taking the role of an expert, having an opinion, and so forth. But this is very useful. It is telling you that you have to think about water pressure, which I had actually not thought about. So this 1/4-inch tubing is very thin. I have it, so I'm trying to use whatever I have. But it's telling me that if you go with such a small pipe tubing, then maybe you'll have difficulty having water pressure for long distances. And then the emitter flow rate, complexity. So some of these things were very interesting to me that it asked me. And then immediately I said, okay, if 1/4 is not good, then what about 1/2-inch? And it gave me some pros and cons, which I was like, okay, this is very useful, So earlier it just told me that if you want to do 1/4-inch, this is how you do it. But now it's telling me these are the pros and cons of these two things, which actually it didn't come to me naturally to think about these things. And then it said, do you want to help? Would you like to would you like to see a diagram? And I think I mentioned earlier that many times I don't know when a diagram would be applicable. This is one of those things. I said, okay, yeah, sure. And it's creating a diagram. And this is okay. I mean, nothing wrong with this, but not very useful, I would say. And then it said, would you like to explore a different diagram style? And I was like, okay, what's a different diagram style? And now it showed me a mind map of pros and cons of half-inch tubing, quarter-inch tubing, pros, cons, clogging, lower. This is very interesting to me. I mean, this you could take as an image, show it to anybody, and in 30 seconds they can read it and understand it. And also, for me personally, I had not seen this type of visualization for pros and cons of two things. So I think that I'll be using this in the future in my own work. So this is what I mean when I say that, many times you will not realize, or at least I did not realize, where you could make diagrams. And so for this response, at least, I feel like my combination of custom instructions worked really well in it prompting me a different option altogether. So that I really wanted to share with you. Now, the third thing by way of example that I want to share is just something that really amused me. So I want to learn ServiceNow development, and I'm already a system administrator. How do you suggest I do it and go about building a small app? Because I would like to build an app, and I'm actually in the process of building an app to learn this. And so I got a real kick out of the response, because it says get access to PDI, personal developer instance, number one step. Okay. Choose an app idea. Start with a simple idea, maybe an app to track some of your hobbies like bonsai maintenance. And I was so wowed by this, because this is exactly the idea that I already did choose. And this is the app that I am building to learn this. And this thing thought of the same thing. So that kind of amused me and tickled me. And I was like, okay, wow, this is very interesting. And the rest of the answer is good, but nothing out of the ordinary. But certainly, something that the custom instructions help you with. So these are three things that I wanted to share with you. And the way to turn on custom instructions is very simple. You just go to the menu, and you just go here. You have custom instructions. You just type it out, save it, and this gets effective for new chat. So just press new chat, and it'll work for you. So I would highly recommend using this, even if you feel that not everything is to the mark. Definitely the experience of using it is so good that now when I don't have it off, which I usually have it always turned on, but for example, for this video, I had some examples, so I turned it off and I didn't remember to turn it back on. It really makes a difference. I mean, I really, really like just the way it has the conversation and the quality of responses and so forth. It's really useful. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Please leave any comments with what your experience has been, and any other questions that you may have. And if you have enjoyed the video, then please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.